You're loved, you are accepted, and that anybody who's hearing this, student or otherwise out there in the world who stumbles across this, that if nothing else, you have a resource right here today.
Welcome back to Greyhound Grit. My name is Emily Wilbanks, and I have a very special guest on with me today. This is Julia Gonzalez Ramos. She is the one and only counselor at the Ruidoso ENMU campus. She's doing huge things for that campus and for mental health over there. So thank you so much for coming on today.
Thank you. It's an honor and privilege. I appreciate your invite.
Thank you. I'm so excited to have you here. Do you want to go ahead and give us a little background real quick?
Sure. I am a Portales, Eastern New Mexico University alumni. I went to school here 04 to 08 and got my undergraduate here in psychology. Then I blew off a few years and then went back to school, went to graduate school, and became a counselor.
Awesome. Yeah, I'm really excited to have an alumni, especially back on the show too, and back on campus as well.
Yes,
so
thank you.
Today we'll be talking about the mental health stigma that surrounds the LGBTQ+ community in lieu of Pride Month.
Okay.
Yeah, so Happy Pride Month, by the way.
Happy Pride Month to you.
Do you want to tell us your pronouns and what you identify as?
Absolutely. I am she, her, and I identify as female. That is actually a point of pride for me. That's part of my Pride Month is my femininity and my ability to tap into that in myself.
Yeah, no, I absolutely agree. My pronouns are she, her, and I take pride in being a woman all the time.
Absolutely.
So, yeah, well, we're both members of the LGBTQ+ community.
Okay, I did not know that.
Yes, so I'm bisexual. So, yeah, it's been a journey for sure.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
It can be a long one sometimes.
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah.
Especially with, the stigma that surrounds the bisexual community.
Yeah.
It can be bad. And even all of the communities in and of themselves are very stigmatized. I actually have a statistic from strongfamilyalliance.org. It says the bisexual and transgender communities have the highest rates of mental health concerns within the LGBTQ+ population.
Oh, very much so, yes. And unfortunately, bisexual people, right? Anybody who is in that particular color of the flag, right? That is a particularly hard one, at least from identifying as that myself in the beginning of my experience. And it can be a space that can feel unwelcoming sometimes.
Yeah.
Very much the idea of like, if you're not gay enough or if you're not straight enough. There is actually, I don't even know if this is used anymore, but 20 years ago, what I was kind of referred to as like, if I went from dating a male to a female or whatever little step I was taking to one side or the other, it was always, well, you're a has-been instead of a lesbian. You're a this, you're a that. And there were lots of stigmas attached to bisexuality. I feel like that's somewhat still here in our community, not as in my face as I've seen it in the past, but it's there. It can be polarizing.
Yeah, definitely. Yeah. How have you noticed misgendering affecting mental health within maybe your clients or even yourself if you've experienced that?
Never been misgendered, not yet. I'm sure that might be in the future, but this is a real quick and dirty thing, but have you seen, it's TikTok, YouTube, there's a video, and I think it's gone through all of our, doom scrolling apps that we carry in our pocket, right? Where there's a little girl sitting in the middle of the family room, and she is in a chair, and the whole family has decided to play a prank on her, where she is in that chair covered in a blanket, and like a big sister or cousin or somebody comes in and says, abracadabra, Sarah, whoever it was, Sarah is invisible now, or we're going to make Sarah disappear. I think that's what it was, is we're going to make Sarah disappear. Yep. Have you seen this one?
We did that to my little brother, and I felt so bad.
Your little brother probably had a close to a pretty significant Minty B at the moment.
Oh, for sure.
Yeah. So that is my quick answer to that of, have you ever seen that video, or have you ever done that prank on someone? And when the whole family was in on it, and the cousin, whoever it was, said, abracadabra, Sarah's gone. And she lifts that blanket, and the whole family is so in on it. Like, the mom starts crying. And it's like, what? Like, what did you do? And all this. And so there's this little girl in the middle that's like, no, Mom, like, oh, like, kind of watching, and everybody's acting like they can't see her. And she's like, oh, no, Mom, I'm right here. And at first it's kind of a few moments of, oh, this is funny. And then when she thinks that that's real and she's not being seen, it literally can cause psychosis. Like, that is something that can cause psychosis in us. And so, like, and that's not to shame, right? That's not to say, because it's just when you know more about a situation, you do better the next time. We all play pranks. I've played so many that I wish I could take back, right? It's not something that people can't get past or get through. Like, it's just a little bit. But that right there, the not being seen for who you truly are is so devastating. And I think of that little video every single time I hear somebody be misgendered. I think of that when I think that there's not enough representation in places for any of us. But that right there, like, the mental health effects of not being authentically seen for who you are, it's not just in those crazy moments of, like, almost like a mental breakdown psychosis of a prank. That can happen in the moment with somebody. It is not something the human brain really knows how to wrap around, right? Like, that is something the brain has evolutionarily, biologically speaking, for survival. I need to know that my mother sees me. If I'm not being seen by my mother, the hawk is going to come down and pick me out of the nest. That's just what we do. So that, in a micro situation on a social level with somebody's gender, it can cause very similar harm, because then the questions start being asked, well, then who am I? Then what am I? Then, if I'm not what I'm authentically feeling I am, do I even exist if you don't see it? Like, there's a huge part to that, which honestly, as a not transgender person, I would definitely encourage, like, ask more transgendered people of dude, like what is that experience? Because I can touch on it because of what I know of the human brain, but on a personal level, I can't imagine having that happen to me.
I mean, what a great anecdote, though. I mean, because those videos now, they break my heart. Right. And when we did that to my little brother, it was years ago when the trend first came along, and so seeing him get so upset, it was like, thinking about it now, it literally is a state of psychosis. Like, that's insane that can affect you that way. And what a great way to relate that back to being misgendered.
And like I said, when you know better, you do better, right? Like, you're sorry, brother, right? Like,
yeah, I'm sorry, Che. That was my bad.
So, but now we know those kinds of things. And honestly, there's a trend coming around the corner that 3 years from now, we're going to be like, oh my God, I can't believe I did that.
Oh, for sure.
But yeah, this one in particular, the discrimination and sometimes the bigotry that can happen amongst the groups that are represented in these colors. And that's not a blanket statement. I find that case by case. But it is very much so there. And then, interestingly enough, I actually had an interaction online recently where I saw a ally post very positive, very clearly stating their stance on everything, also sharing about how they wish they had been louder much longer than now, right? Like, much longer, like years. She's saying, I should have been having this conversation 10, 20 years ago, but now I'm at the table and I want to be here and I'm an ally and I'm not going anywhere. On that social media post, one of the very first comments was absolutely a numbered list of why she was not welcome in our space.
Oh my gosh.
Thankfully, a bunch of other people from the community joined in and said, hold on, wait, we no. And I also try to be a voice in that of saying, this is not the time. This is not the time to fight amongst ourselves. This is not the time to turn our backs on allies in any form that we see. And that was disheartening, right? I saw in real time, this was yesterday, that somebody literally numbered why that ally wasn't welcome. And that's just unfortunate. It's not the common response that I see from members of my community. That was a shocker to see how quickly that ally was jumped on.
Yeah.
So
It's disappointing, and that's something I definitely want to talk about today is finding allyship within a college community. That can be really, really hard. Portales and Ruidoso alike is rural, it's small, and it can be small-minded at times. So finding allyship there is really hard.
Oh, absolutely, absolutely. Just sheer numbers, right? That's one of the biggest issues is small communities. The percentages of our community, they're not represented very well. They're very small in these small communities. Like you said, there's some small-mindedness there as well in different pockets. It's also a lot of what I think I see is just misinformation and not enough coming to the table and kind of sharing space, because when I am in spaces in Ruidoso that have nothing to do with Pride Month, nothing to do with the LGBTQ plus community, I find myself comforted. I find myself amongst friends. I know these people. Like, I am in safe spaces regardless of who I am. I wish that there were so many more members of my community who felt like that in those other open spaces. It's fear on both ends. Fear that you won't be accepted, fear that you'll be harmed, but it's also fear on the other end of just not knowing. It's just different. Our community is not the status quo. It's not the traditional. So there's a lot of coming to the table on both sides, I think.
When you were here at Eastern, how was it finding your identity here? Was it a challenge? Was it not?
To tell you the truth, it was a huge challenge. Yeah. I'm not going to lie. I actually did not come to my full understanding of myself until I came here and until I had my first relationship with a female, and one that I fought very hard to not have, tried to convince myself of every other option than that, and turned out that that was my option. And it was terrifying, absolutely terrifying in that moment to realize. And I remember telling my mom, like, oh my God, Mom, like, I do not want to be gay. Like this, am I gay? I'm gay. I just, what am I going to do? And fighting that within myself so much. Thankfully, I was raised by the most wonderful woman that you would have ever met, that I was always loved and unconditionally loved and accepted since the day I got here. So I had support there. So thankful for that, because I know that is a very unique experience for a lot of us. But it was terrifying when I figured out that that was the road that I was probably going to be going down. Like that, whoa, that is a life-changing moment for me. And I was met with discrimination in the community. Me and my first girlfriend, I was very closeted. She was as well, but I think she was a little bit more comfortable with the questions being asked about us. I wasn't. It was very scary for me. In fact, when we moved off of campus and we wanted to get our apartment house with two of my friends, and we were talking about it, we were this, okay, great, let's move in. We knew that we had to send my straight friends in to get the house application. We just kind of were under that impression. We ended up being right in that, because a year later, when we wanted to move into our own space, just the two of us, I literally went to a realty place here in town and said, I'm looking for a 1-bedroom, 1-bath. I was extremely tight on money as a student. Like, I need a shared space. I need a small space. Like, it's not, I'm just looking for this. And the question that was asked of us as we were sitting in that office was, what do you mean a 1-bedroom? And it stopped me in my tracks. I had never experienced that before, and it was a eye-opening moment for me that someone would just brazenly put themselves in my personal business, to tell you the truth. So that's just one small example. And unfortunately, I feel like those years were very formative for me. They were very important. I wouldn't trade them for anything. But there wasn't a whole lot of safety or community here in Portales for me to feel like we could be out as a couple, or for me to explore what this community the LGBT community would have here for us. So that was a struggle. I'm not going to lie. It got a lot better, but it was a struggle in the beginning.
So did you ever find any inclusive or safe spaces here in this community when you were in college?
Yes, they were more intimate in nature, more one-on-one allyship, more than like groups or crews or anything like that. I can't remember right off the top of my head if there was any organizations at that time. Again, if there were, I wasn't going anywhere near them. That was way too dangerous of a place for me. I had no idea what I was navigating at that time. When I say it was more intimate, allyship, friendship, and spaces like that, friends, right? Like I would find safe people. Oh yeah, I've been friends with these people for 2-3 years. They've been my roommates. They've this and that. Getting to know them, hearing how they speak, paying attention to their beliefs and what they're comfortable with, I picked up on who I could share my new relationship with and who I couldn't. And one person that I would love to give a shout out to about that, if I could.
Absolutely.
And you guys all know him and love him. That's Doc Elder.
Oh, yes. I knew it.
And I know he's going to watch it, so hi, Doc. But he was one of the first people that I came out to. And it was after college, just through our continued friendship and his mentorship and helping me navigate my youth, honestly. He was one of the very first people that I ever told, hey, like, I think I'm a bit of both. I might be a bit of something. I'm not sure what's going on here. And not only were you so just completely cool and calm and confident in your response of how normal that was, you also gave that vibe of like, well, of course, right? Like, it doesn't matter. Like Doc Elder, absolutely, his ability to connect to almost anybody, right? It brought out a sense of safety for me because I thought, well, dang, like if this guy who's shaking hands with everybody that I see, knows every single person to this day, when I see him in town, he's the guy. And I thought, what an amazing person, because not only would I be safe in his presence and be safe to be myself, but if I were in the community and something were to happen, I have an ally. That's an ally, right? And so growing those small little connections and recognizing when somebody was safe enough to come out to, or I wanted to at least try. Like I said, my friends, Doc Elder, there were other professors too that I absolutely was a little bit more free with. Oh yeah, my girlfriend. And then that just became normal, part of our conversation of catching up, right? And so it was small and intimate moments for me that really made me feel accepted, loved, validated, safe. And then as those grew and those stayed steady, and I saw that I wasn't going to lose love, connection, community to everything that I had always known from before discovering this, it made it easier to step out into spaces a little bit more authentically. It made it easier to navigate the waters feeling like, oh, you have a couple of buddies, allies, right? That's why we call them allies, is because those are the people who have the privilege in the spaces to be able to speak up, to be able to protect. And like my friends and roommates, those were people that would speak up and protect. Doc Elder is a person that would speak up and protect. And that was a huge thing for me. Finding more allies along the way grew my confidence of like, oh, there are so many safer spaces than I ever thought.
You can also find allyship and leadership.
Yes.
And that means so much.
Yes.
I mean, to me personally, to find someone who is such a huge part of the community like him that is willing to say that they support you is monumental.
It's giant. I mean, we live in the community in this, honestly, in this society, right? America, it's all about sponsorship, right? Mm-hmm. Who do you want your name tied to? Nike's going to go after LeBron, right? Or Caitlin Clark or whoever. Like, there's sponsorship, there's connection there. You want your name added in that space, right? And so you have people that can vouch for you, unfortunately, right? You have people that can say, no, this isn't the only thing about this person.
I'm going to show you, or I'm going to have you listen to an audio clip of somebody that I talked to here on campus talking about their experience. And I just kind of want your thoughts on it and how you would go about it.
Sure.
Hello, my name is Frederick York. I identify as gay. My pronouns are he, him, and I'm a senior here on campus. Honestly, there has just been a lack of support for me, and as a matter of fact, it's almost felt the opposite. Like, there's been individual support from people, but there's never really been like a grand sense of institutional support. And I know that people have tried to some extent, but it feels like there's not very much actively being done to fight for people in the LGBTQ community here.
So, I mean, what are your thoughts on that, and what advice would you give people?
So firstly, my thoughts on that are very much so yes. Like, I can agree with him. And I can't speak, like, I literally just walked through the hub, like, today. Like, I couldn't even tell you what Portales campus has, right? But just across the country, there's lack of representation. There's lack of, like speaks to like. Right, that's just right. And so when you don't have like around you, it feels very isolating.
Oh, absolutely.
And so, yeah, I trust his take on it because he's currently here and he's currently, he's living it. But I want to validate his feelings in that because there just simply isn't enough being done in what should be community safe spaces. There's just not enough. So what I say to that is what I was talking about earlier is starting small. Okay, so yes, we can jump into pride parades. We can start queer clubs. We can do all kinds of things. And that might suit somebody right down to the ground. And that's just, they're going to be a powerhouse in that position, and they're going to do this community organizing and everything else. Somebody else is not going to be comfortable doing that, right? So in those situations, or maybe somebody doesn't have even the backing of an entity, of a place to even start a club, right? You don't even get that. So what I say is start small and start with where you know, right? Who are your safe people? Who are your safe friends? Who are your allies? And start there, and then start those conversations and see what's really kind of underlying and what things like that. When you have that, when you feel safe in that, and this person absolutely feels, like I said, that was eloquent. He would be a primary person that I would say, hey, come talk to me. Let's be the representation, right? If you can't find it, be it. That doesn't work for everybody. Some introverts are going to say, heck no, I'm not doing that. But he might be somebody who would. Right. And so start where you can, do what you can. Unfortunately, not to be an alarmist, but safety first, right? You got to know who's in front of you, what's going on in front of you. And then I would also say right now we have everything at our fingertips. We have so much information. We have so many resources. Where, right? Can you look? Can you look up? Can you say, support groups near me, whatever it is? What happens when you live in Portales and there are no support groups until you reach where, I don't know, Las Cruces, right? Like, I don't know where the next one would be. So when you start small and you start with those safe people, and those safe people hold the same things true, and you're seeing a lack in front of you, what can you do? The other thing is, as much as I have felt loved, accepted, and safe in Portales, Ruidoso, other places got to do better, plain and simple, right? It can't land on the individual to fix something that they didn't break or provide something that they don't have the ability to provide, right? I can say till I'm blue in the face, find your safe people and grow your own community and then, change the world. That doesn't always work like that. So the people and the entities who have already figured out how to do it systemically, right? You've already figured out how to create community and connection. You've already figured out how to create mass communication. Like there's so many things that are at university levels, workplace levels, you name it, just anything that you're kind of working under their umbrella. if you're working under an umbrella or going to school under that umbrella, they already have those skills and resources to provide support, right? They got to do better too. If the need's there, you got to provide it.
Absolutely. So when you were here, and even now in your adult life, how has finding those people that have been allies to you, how has finding those been so crucial to your mental health?
Oh, I couldn't even describe, like, literally how much time do you have kind of thing. The allies that I have gathered along the journey here have been so instrumental in my mental health, and honestly in some of my darker, deeper moments of, keeping me here, keeping me with us topside, right? Like, of, I have to know that I am accepted. I have to know that I'm safe. And once I feel that, or once we feel that, mental health is back on the table, right? Those are the people that bring me right back down. They ground me right back down to the ground. Doc, Layla, my wife Mo, my brother. Like, I was so lucky. I talked about my mom as well. Like, I am one of the luckiest queer people that I know, because almost every single person in my life who's important to me accepted me immediately.
How amazing.
There was one that meant a lot to me, that I lost because of it. And it just, to this day, it's difficult for me. But it also showed me some resiliency, because this was a person in my life that I honestly didn't think I could live without. It was a very, very important parental figure to me. And when I realized that was not a safe space for me to be authentic in, I had to remove myself from that space. And that breaks my heart to this day. So I can't imagine, with all the support and love that I had, to feel that deep loss on that level for that one person. And then to think of how many people in our community, but especially the youth, especially our students, especially young people here with us today, who have no one, right? No acceptance. They don't know. And that's part of why we're talking today, is where do you find that? I was lucky enough to be born into it, right? Like, I lucked myself into that. Not everybody has that luck.
You mentioned something about resiliency. I think queer people are some of the most resilient people on this earth.
Yes, I
They
agree.
have to be.
I very much so agree.
Like, all of these people have to be facing so much hate. So, I mean, chosen family for people is just so important. And I know, especially in the drag community,
Yes.
chosen family is huge.
Very much, yes. Oh man, the drag community, what a blessing.
I know, right?
Honestly, what a blessing. And that's a huge one, right? And that's, I think, another part is the resiliency that shines through, the resiliency that is taught.
So I'm going to read off a couple of stigmas to you.
Okay.
That people say around the queer community and mental health therapy / counseling.
Sure.
Okay, let me know your thoughts.
All right.
Therapy doesn't work for queer people.
My thoughts are common stigma, and untrue, right? So mental health services and counseling or anything else, it's a case-by-case basis. It's going to help some people. It's going to do nothing for others, right? Like, it's got to fit. So, yeah, it's not that it doesn't work for the queer community. It's not that. It's that it just doesn't work for everybody, right? It's like, it wouldn't work for every single freshman, right? It wouldn't work for every single farmer, right? So it doesn't. That's the kind of thing that I look at. The stigma is there, unfortunately, for multiple reasons, and it's honestly, it's on us in this profession to fix it, to address it, and constantly address it.
Yeah.
Regardless of where you're at, right? And that's why in our profession we have very clear ethical guidelines of, if you don't think that you can provide services to this person in a way that's beneficial to them, for their benefit, for their mental health, you got to refer them out.
So another stigma that's kind of just a counseling one in general, not even just for queer people, you're just dramatic.
Yeah,
Yeah.
definitely. Rub some dirt in it. right? Like,
Yeah.
suck it up. No, that's a big stigma, is you're just overreacting, you're being dramatic. No, no, you're not. And I think that the stigma exists because everybody's overreaction is relative. Everybody's stimuli and reaction is relative, right? What's overwhelming for me or dramatic for me is not for you. It could be. We could share the same thing. But I could think of 100 different things that would trigger me that wouldn't trigger my wife, wouldn't trigger my brother,
Yeah.
right? And so I think that that's where that stigma really comes from, is kind of us as a collective needing to bring up our skills in empathy, our skills in understanding, and recognize that overwhelm happens for everyone, but everybody has a different threshold for overwhelm. So you're just being dramatic, rub some dirt in it, like, oh, you should hear what I've been through, right? All of those stigmas, yes, you're absolutely right. I should listen to what you've been through too. But those are your experiences, and those were your overwhelms. They're not the same as mine.
Right.
So I think that's us as a collective, as humans. We got to grow some more empathy and some more tolerance and provide more space for others to experience what they're experiencing at the level that they're experiencing it.
What message do you have for anyone of the LGBTQ plus community who may be struggling silently?
There are resources. There are still resources. We hear a lot about things getting cut. We hear a lot about things getting taken away right now, and there are still a ton. So please don't be disheartened by that. There are still so many entities and so many people out here. There is a way to get support and to get the resources that you need. That's number one. Don't be disheartened by what you're hearing or seeing, because yes, those things are true, but that's not the only thing that's going on. There's a lot of other upswell, right? Ground swelling, right? However you say it, of, okay, so let's step into those roles that have been left vacant by the support systems, by the resources, right? So we're good with that. That's one thing. I would also say, just from like a heartfelt level of my own, is yes, it's scary. Yes, it's isolating. Yes, I have struggled in my past, and the resiliency that you can grow is monumental in those moments. Resiliency, though, unfortunately, you have to have a little bit of cushion in order to grow it, right? You can't demand somebody grow their resiliency when they're in the middle of a trauma without any resiliency.
Oh, yeah.
And so to know and identify and validate that experience of, if you are struggling silently, yes, there is a good chance, I can't say 100%, but the majority of us out here who are queer have experienced exactly what you're experiencing. And a few years ago, it was, It Gets Better campaign, right? And everybody was talking about how it gets better. And I do agree. I don't want to diss that at all. But that also has to be said with, sometimes it doesn't. And sometimes it's a fight. And sometimes fighting for yourself and fighting for your community is the only option you have. You're loved. You are accepted. And that anybody who's hearing this, student or otherwise out there in the world, who stumbles across this, that if nothing else, you have a resource right here today. And it's me. It's Emily. It's the people that we have talked about today. That who is it in your life that can be there, right? That can be that safe space and that can help allyship, all this stuff. Please understand that what you're experiencing, others have experienced before. You are not alone in this. If there is nobody that you can find in your close surroundings, please reach out to me. I can't guarantee that I can fix or help or do anything, but I will find the resources where you can be supported. Reach out to the resources that you identified if you don't feel comfortable using this podcast, right? Like, go to that space. It's scary. I know it is, and it's not always going to be great. There might be harmful moments in different situations, but if you have clubs, if you have community, if you have safe spaces, utilize them.
So I'm going to have Julia's contact listed in the bio for you guys if you want to reach out to her and just say hi or just say anything. We also have licensed counselors here on campus that anybody can go see as long as you're an Eastern student. They also provide virtual counseling as long as you're a New Mexico resident. You have access to groups as well, like the Gender Sexuality Alliance here on campus if you happen to be on campus. And one of my favorites, and a shout out to these people, Eastern New Mexico Rising here in Portales. It's for Eastern New Mexico and also West Texas. It's a progressive movement. And what's actually so great about it is the founder of it is the librarian over at the GSSC. So shout out to Laura White because she's awesome. She's a warrior for her people. So you have resources. Reach out to me, reach out to Julia, whoever you need at any point. Yes. Thank you so much for coming on today. Do you have anything else you want to talk about?
No, I don't think so. Thank you for having me. I appreciate your invite. I'm honored to do this for Pride Month and be a voice for our community. And for me personally, I would just like to, again, identify the people who have made my process and my journey a safe, happy, love-filled one. My family, my friends, Doc, and a lot of other great people, just to thank them for everything that they've done for me and the acceptance that I've felt. You guys have made all the difference for me, and I can only return the favor by trying to be that for somebody else. So if me and Emily can do that, then I will hopefully be honoring every single person who has poured their hearts into me. So.
Yeah, absolutely. Thank you so much for coming on today.
Thank you.
I've loved having you.
I will come back anytime.
Yay. Okay. Thank you so much for watching Greyhound Grit. This has been the Pride episode for June 2025. Talk to someone, reach out. You have a million people wanting to support you.
Yes, you do.